مثل المؤمنين في توادهم وتراحمهم وتعاطفهم كمثل الجسد إذا اشتكى منه عضو تداعى له سائر الجسد بالسحر والحمى. The believers in their mutual love, mercy and sympathy are like one body. If one limb suffers, the whole body responds. The body of Islam, the Muslims all as a whole, it responds with sleeplessness and fever until that is cured. This is the way we are, the way we should be. We ask the Almighty Lord to put this bondage, this love, this care, this aid, this help amongst the Muslims, to strengthen us, to bring solidarity amongst us, unification, unity, loving each other, helping each other, aiding each other, thinking of our brothers who have been imprisoned for no reason. Do dua for them, help them. Wallahi, it could happen to any of us at any time. So do not think of yourself only when you go to sleep or when you eat or in your prayers. Think about your brothers and sisters in Islam. They are the gathering or the people of pride and arrogance. The gathering of those who are the beggars. On a day of resurrection, on a day of gathering, you will see people with scars or scratch marks on their face, and others with no flesh on their face. No flesh, just the bone itself, bare. And they'll be walking around. These are the people who begged while there was no need for them to beg. As it's mentioned, that Muhammad says to us all, that whoever begs while there's no need for him to beg will come with scars and scratch marks on his face. Bukhari and Muslim narrated the hadith of Ibn Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, that if one of you keeps asking with importunity, in other words, persistent demand, will meet Allah ta'ala on the day of gathering with not a shred of flesh on his face. And Muslim narrated that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to us all, that whoever begs just to add to his riches is actually in fact asking for a firebrand. It's up to him to increase it or decrease it. And a firebrand is a stick of fire. Begging, dear brothers and sisters, without a pressing need, a necessity, is a disgraceful crime that can lead a person to hellfire. And we all know that Islam teaches us that the upper hand is better than the lower hand. The upper hand is the one that gives, while the lower is the one that asks and takes. May the Almighty Lord make us amongst those who are from the upper hand and not from the lower hand. The gathering of the one who has two faces. Two faces, the backbiter, the slanderer, the one that carries fairy tales in order to lower, to harm, to hurt his believing brothers and sisters in Islam. On that day, this person, you will know him. You will know he was a two-faced person on the face of this earth. He will have a long tongue of fire. His tongue will be a fire on that day. As Muhammad said to us, whoever is two-faced in the life of this world will have a tongue of fire in the next. And Bukhari and Muslim narrated that amongst the worst people on the day of gathering, the day of judgment, is the one who is two-faced. He says something to these people and then something else to those people. Subhanallah, backbiting, slandering, carrying fairy tales, lowering the servants of Allah Ta'ala in the eyes of others. Why? Why? Oh, two-faced, evil, wicked person, are you free from mistake? Think about it. Are you free from mistake? As Ibrahim ibn Adham said, they engage in looking at the faults or finding faults in others before they look at their own faults. Are you free from mistake? Rather, you are full of deficiencies. You are lower than the person you are speaking about. How dare a Muslim speak spread rumors, tell lies, hurt, harm his brother or sister in Islam. Surely, wallahi, this person did not know Islam, does not know Islam. Prying into matters that does not concern him. Amr ibn al-As walked past a dead mule, a carcass of a dead mule. He said to his companions, you are better off eating from the flesh of this carcass than to eat the flesh of your fellow Muslims. Because when you talk behind your back of your brother and sister in Islam, it's like you are going to his grave after he's buried, digging out that grave and eating the flesh while it's deteriorating. That's the example. That's what you are doing. Another man mentioned something bad about his brother to another man. So the other man said to him, the one that was mentioned to, he said to the backbiter, do you fight against the Romans? He said, no. He goes, do you fight against the Turks? He said, no. He goes, the Romans are safe from you. The Turks are safe from you. But your brothers and sisters are not safe from you. Subhanallah. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, rahimahullah ta'ala, the great mujahid, the great predecessor, he said, if I were to gossip about anyone, I would gossip about my parents. They have more right over my hasanat. They have more right over my deeds. And the worst of all is the man or the person who has studied some hadith, probably one or two memorization, or some verses of the Quran, thinking himself, tabarakallah, he's someone, and starts describing or slandering the scholars, thinking that, oh, I'm not on that opinion, or that opinion is, it's no good. Don't listen to this shaykh. Subhanallah. How many people slander shaykhs, slander eminence, scholars, teachers of Islam? It is because you have learnt one hadith and you're on a particular opinion. You go and throw that shaykh's work out the window. What makes you know that he's right and you're wrong? Brothers and sisters, be very careful how you use this tongue. Be very careful. Be careful that you do not say a word, one letter against your brother and sister in Islam that will hurt or harm them. Wallahi, if anything drags a human being into hellfire, it's this. Leave that which does not concern you. Avoid, abandon people who worry about your own faults. Judge yourself before you judge others. Look at your own faults before you look at other people's faults. And you'll see that you need to rectify your life before you talk about other people's lives. Do not be two-faced. A funny story took place when a lady mentioned to her husband that her next door neighbor, a female lady, was two-faced. And she mentioned this in the presence of a 5-year-old child. So this 5-year-old child listened to his mother, saying that her neighbor next door is two-faced. She was saying this to her husband over dinner. So one day they went next door and they started for a visit, to visit the next door neighbors. So the child remembered that saying of his mother, that the lady is two-faced. So the child, this 5-year-old child, could not conceive, what does she mean by two-faced? Has she got two faces? So he went to that lady that was spoken about, behind her back. Like, this lady, the wife, was warning her husband, be careful what you say in front of this lady because she speaks in two different faces. So while they were visiting their neighbours, the lady assumed to be two-faced, the child went to this lady and started looking at her and looking, scrutinising her face. The lady got annoyed after about 2 or 3 minutes of being stared at like that. She said, "What are you doing?" He said, "My mother said you're two-faced. I can't see two faces. I can't see two faces." And fadahaha. He exposed what his mother said about her behind her back. They say if you if you are in the wrong.